Joining me on the line, he is from Cinemablend.com, and he just spent a half hour of his day listening to me talk about 90s professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Reyes is on the line. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I never thought that statement would ever be a thing that was in my life, but also something that I would openly welcome. And I thank you for that, and all my other friends that have sort of kind of been piecemealing me into the world of wrestling as of late. I think I'm going to have to get into this.
Dude, it really is a good time, and I miss being a fan of pro wrestling. I can tell you the last time I was like legitimately wanted to watch it was AEW. The rumor was that they were going to bring back CM Punk. And so it was like, okay, this is much must-watch TV. And if you know the history of CM Punk and pro wrestling, you're like, I can't believe this is happening. And that was a year ago, I think. It was about a year, maybe a little less. But beyond that, like, every time I keep wanting to be a fan of pro wrestling, like, they do something dumb, and it's like, never mind. It's disappointing, is what I'll say.
It's like any fandom, they decide to turn a character who was nobody into a Skywalker, and there's tons of angry emails.
Oh, yeah. And then they keep shoving Ronda Rousey down my throat. But anyways, that's a story for another time. We're here to talk about movies this week. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com is on the line. And Mike, let's start with Moonfall because, yeah, Moonfall. Let's just start there.
Because I've seen Moonfall at the time of this recording.
Yeah. No, actually, it's one of those things of the movies that we're talking about this weekend. This is the one I'd be most legitimately interested in, but it just looks dumb.
Oh.
And this is coming from me. And that's the thing. Like, I should be really into this, but it's a little. When they first, let me start here. When they first started promoting this movie, I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then the second trailer came out, and it's like, oh, there's something in the moon or whatever. It's like, okay, you lost me.
I kind of bristle at calling a movie like this dumb.
Okay.
I mean, it's certainly, I've seen dumb movies. Yeah. And certainly more flagrant with it's more flagrant with science. It's more flagrant with conspiracy theories. For anybody that's out there that doesn't really know what this is about, the moon is going to crash into Earth. And there is some sort of force behind all of these events. And three people that will be able to save us are Halle Berry, Patrick Wilson, and John Bradley from Game of Thrones. And like I said, I kind of don't want to call this a dumb movie. It is definitely one of the thought light blockbusters. I guess I'll put it as like you don't really have to think about it too much. It's a good time. What it wants to be is a good time. Roland Emmerich has given us movies like this, since Independence Day. He did 2012. In fact, he says those are the two movies that kind of mix together to create Moonfall.
Okay.
And I can kind of feel it, especially with the Independence Day angle, because there's a lot of stuff that feels very connected to that film. The thing is, Roland Emmerich is very confident with this movie. Like, it's visually, like, there's some visually gorgeous stuff here. It moves like a flash. Like, it's a very quick, a little over 2-hour movie. It has destruction. It has the character moments you want. But the thing is, I felt this time around, they tried to experiment with how much you can cut a movie like this to the bone, and it would still be like a lean, mean experience, but not, feel too heavy in some places.
Okay.
And that's what I kind of, because I kept thinking back to Independence Day where it was, I think it was like 2 hours, 25 minutes. It's one of Roland Emmerich's longer movies because most of his stuff is hours or so. And I kind of missed the extra 10, 15 minutes of maybe having a little more time with these characters and having a more standard scenes where you are fleshing out these relationships instead of just shorthanding it like, oh, Halle Berry has a son and has an ex-husband, and that they're going to have to do something to protect the kid. And it's not talking the movie down. It's just I wish there was a little more to it.
Okay.
But it was fun to watch. John Bradley, Samuel Tarly from Game of Thrones, steals this movie with his conspiracy theorist who, believes that the hollow moon theory, and he's just this really lovable character, and he even has a cool cat. named Fuzz Aldrin.
Fuzz Aldrin.
Fuzz Aldrin, and it is a beautiful cat.
Oh, that's funny. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line right now. Like I said, the reason I thought it looked dumb is because from what they went from in the first trailer to, hey, the moon's falling out of orbit, it's like, okay, that's kind of a cool natural disaster type thing. And then they go to the next one and there's like some kind of monster involved. And it's like, I like the first idea better that I had for this in my mind, I guess.
But that's where some of the really big swings come from in the third act. And again, the stuff that they lay down because of what's really going on with the moon and the whole story about the moon, I wish they would have built that in better, like maybe have a prologue at the beginning of the movie or feed it through the film somehow.
Okay.
Instead of at the end, and yeah, you've seen a lot of fantastical stuff, so you can buy into it. But I wish the lore would have been built in better. I mean, another thing that the kind of upset me is, you know how much they use Donald Sutherland in the trailers for this movie?
I don't know off the top of my head. I can't remember seeing him, to be honest with you.
Well, they use Donald Sutherland throughout the trailers for this movie, and he basically plays like a NASA scientist who, I think he was present for the original moon landing and knows all this, knows that it's been a big cover up since day one and this, that, and the other thing. You would think that would be maybe a sizable role, but at the very least, you would think it'd be a nice, meaty one scene cameo where he just shows in, kills it, and leaves.
Yeah,
it is even shorter than that. They barely give the man's character time on screen. And I just really would have liked a little more of that instead of just, oh, hey, kids, here's Donald Sutherland probably fulfilling his Hunger Games contract, and then see ya.
There you go. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. All right, so Moonfall, kind of okay?
If you really want to just watch stuff get destroyed and enjoy charming characters like trying to save the world, go see it. It's going to be an IMAX this weekend. I'm tempted to kind of go see it in IMAX again because I would love thundering sound and big screen. I'm kind of surprised there's no 3D for this. But yeah, if you like Roland Emmerich disasters, if you like Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow, 2012, go see it.
Cool deal. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line. Next up, here's where things are going to get interesting. You're going to hear this part of the interview, but then there might be some more a little bit later on. Jackass, which one is this?
Jackass Forever.
Jackass Forever hits theaters. You're actually going to be going here in a couple hours, so have not seen it at the moment. After the movie, I think you're going to call me back, and we're going to do a little bit more about Jackass. For right now, what are you kind of hearing about it?
I'm hearing good things.
Really?
I'm hearing really good things. Like a buddy of mine, my buddy from your area, he went and saw it last night, and he said he was crying with laughter. Matthew, forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, sir, but Matt Zoller-Zeitz from RogerEbert.com gave the movie a 4-star review.
Oh, wow.
And that's the highest on Roger Ebert. And he wrote this wonderful, academic, it's basically a review you wouldn't expect from a Jackass movie. But just the way that he writes and the way that the people at, RogerEbert.com write, that's like the Criterion collection. Like, these are people that write essays for wonderful foreign or indie films. And he just put the movie into this wonderful context that, kind of like how we were talking about pro wrestling earlier and how the way that we talk about wrestling now, if we talked about it that way back when I was a kid, I probably would have gotten into it.
Yeah.
Jackass kind of has evolved into this sort of, now that it's a legacy thing, now that it's been 20 years since Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, and all of them have been doing this stuff, it's sort of evolved into more of this friendship piece and sort of reflecting on what can we do with our bodies and how long can we do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The promotion for this movie, I found this really cool video of Steve-O's. Steve-O had this really awesome video about his worst injuries. It includes footage of fighting anesthesia after a really bad injury, and then you see him just eventually fall under. It's so rad. And quick plug, We had Steve-O on our Real Blend podcast on Cinemablend.com. The interview is amazing because, if only because he talks about, he talks about the Jackass movies and how the franchise has survived and why it continues to survive, even though some people might think, culture being the way that it is now with cancel culture, some might think Jackass wouldn't be a thing that would survive. And he talks so beautifully about why it does.
That's
and
awesome.
Then he tells us about this stunt that he does for his own, he has a stand-up tour where he did these ridiculous stunts that are uninsurable, borderline illegal or flat out illegal, and just are too explicit for Jackass. Like, he went and did them. I think he called it his bucket list tour.
Oh, wow.
And he did all this stuff. And there is one stunt that when I was listening to the interview, because I was writing it up on the site, I broke into such pure laughter just with the one sentence that he uses to describe the stunt, and then he goes and explains why he did it, and it's just a beautiful story.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line right now.
That's cool American fun, folks.
So probably coming up here after the podcast, within this same thing, we'll probably have a little bit more about Jackass here in a little bit. Is there any other movies coming up here, Mike?
Not this. Those are the big movies for this week.
Okay.
Like, that's basically the big ones.
Let's shift gears over to the world of movie news real quick. And I don't want to spend a ton of time on it because I haven't seen it yet. But Hulu released Pam and Tommy, and the only reason I bring this up is because Mr. Disney himself, Sebastian Stan, who could possibly be, Luke Skywalker, he's the Winter Soldier, has a conversation with his penis.
Well, you really did want to work that in here.
Let me tell you a story real quick. So we're on our meeting yesterday, and my boss, he's very into music history and stuff, he watched it, and he goes, it sucks. He goes, it doesn't paint Tommy Lee in a very good light. It's, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes, and he has a conversation with his penis. And I'm like they show it? And he goes, yeah, it looks up at him and talks and stuff. I'm like, no, it does. He's like, yeah, it does. So real quick, I've got Hulu, so I pulled it up on the computer and I start scanning through, and I found the scene. I'm like, yeah, I'll be damned. He is talking to his d-.
I'm still very interested to start watching that show, just because, anybody who grew up in that time, that was one of the greatest scandals to hit the news. And from what I've heard, is it's supposed to also be a really interesting look at how, Pamela Anderson dealt with the sort of fallout from that being leaked. But also, I'm still amazed at how much Sebastian Stan and Lily James look like their real life counterparts.
Oh yeah,
it's uncanny, and it also I can't pass up a miniseries where Seth Rogen and Nick Offerman are like these two dupes.
Yeah.
That are just engaged. And, if this wasn't a bio series, like if this wasn't covering a real event, this almost sounds like it would have been an Elmore Leonard novel.
Yeah.
Like the sort of get shorty or be cool sort of thing where like a whole bunch of people are involved in shady dealings and some people aren't as nice as others, so they plot revenge and then bigger things come of it.
Oh, God. You just gave me an idea.
I gave him the idea to ask Nick Offerman and Seth Rogen to be on our show.
No. I can't remember the name of a movie, and I want to... Hold on. Okay, here's my idea. Imagine a Pam and Tommy story done in the style of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's why I was like, I know the name of the movie, but I couldn't think of what the name of the movie was, so I wanted to say it. But imagine Pam and Tommy, but done in the style of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
You got to pitch me more on why and how this would go. Like sell me on this. We're in the elevator. Give me the pitch.
I just see it in my head. It's one of those things where it's like, it's such a weird story to begin with that if you put it in kind of that just strange, weird kind of acid trip type story that is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, you're like, oh my God, this could be really crazy.
Sold. I love it.
It's the worst elevator pitch ever, but whatever. But anyways, so we'll probably talk about this a little bit more if we both watch it at some point. I just wanted to bring up that Sebastian Stan has a conversation with the penis, and it's like a prop penis, and they show every bit of it. So
the technology has come a long way since Mark Wahlberg and Boogie Nights.
Yeah, really, right? What else do we have news-wise this week, Mike?
I will leave with one last small story before we go. Never forget that this is the week Oscar Isaac admitted that while they filmed Dune and he had like his nude scene in the bathtub, he apparently left his you know how they have like protective coverings to cover one's junk, colloquially known as a crock sock.
Yeah.
He apparently left his in director Denis Villeneuve's pocket when he wasn't looking as like a little souvenir.
And on that note, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every Friday on the show to talk about movies. Mike, you have yourself a good week, but we're probably going to talk again here in a few seconds.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be instantaneous for you guys, but it's going to be hours for us. Behold the power of time travel now.
And through the magic of radio, Mike Reyes is back, friends. Are you in your car right now?
Yes, I am.
Cool. Where'd you stop to get food and gas?
I stopped over at my local Wawa.
Ah, the Wawa. We don't have those here in Iowa.
Well, you guys have some pretty interesting. You guys have your own interesting places out there.
Yeah, we
it's
have.
Not like you don't have anything.
I know. I've been telling you about Come and Go and Casey's Pizza and all that, but hey, we don't want to get too sidetracked here. We just talked about before we started recording. It's like, hey, I don't have a ton of time to do this. Yeah, we're not going to get sidetracked, and then we immediately get sidetracked. Anyways, Mike, you just got out of Jackass Forever. Johnny Knoxville and the boys are back. What did you think?
I think that if you really want to go out there and have just like a fun, don't worry about your mind double feature, go see Moonfall and Jackass Forever in the same day. Because I think Jackass Forever is a slightly better movie. But yeah, if you're not into it, then it's not going to change your mind. If you are a fan, it is going to be a warm hug, and there's some really funny stuff. There's some really funny stuff that goes on in this movie.
Was there because earlier in the podcast you talked about there was excuse me, there was a moment that made your friend like cry laughing. I need a drink.
He said the whole movie.
All right, there we go. Fix the throat.
Gotta stay hydrated during this incredible podcast.
Yes, can't talk all day without having a little something to drink, everybody. So, anyways, so did you like the expectations you went into it? Did they meet it? Like, was it what you thought it was going to be?
Yes, it is a lot of fun. There are some stunts go over better than others. But there's not a dud. It's just there's some stuff that is absolutely. Like, I think there was one called Electric Tap Dance.
Oh, geez.
There's Electric Tap Dance. You know what? I'm not even going to read off the names because there's some that really need to be as surprising as possible. Go in as cold as you can. But even knowing some of the stuff that I did going in, it was a damn hoot.
How did this one stack up to the other Jackass movies?
I would have to go back and watch them again because it's been a while. It's been a little over a decade since Jackass 3D. Honestly, it gives me the same, maybe just my tolerance for stuff. I don't cringe as much, but it still gives me the same joy.
Okay.
Seeing people skating on ramps connected to people, flung around in porta potties. A little bit of a monster movie that opens everything up with a very interesting twist.
So Jackass Forever, you recommend?
Yes, I would say that's the movie of the week, just because these guys put themselves on the line, and you see how much fun they have with it. And you kind of want to be on one of those sets, although it just means Johnny Knoxville will be able to tase you very easily. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
May vary.
That's what I was going to say. I don't need to get hit by a bus to have fun. So.
Nah, we're normal.
There you go. All right, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me from in his car. Where are you at exactly right now?
I am on one of the side streets that leads to another side street back home.
You're not going to give us the street name?
No.
Well, you suck. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every Friday on the show. Thanks so much, buddy.
Have a good one, man.